You're listening to Two Dimensional Champions. I'm Julian or Julalian on Twitter and everywhere else,
I'm
I guess.
Fatinator, and that's all you will call me.
Except if we get you really drunk.
Then you can call me Jesus.
Actually, just spit all over my microphone. That was really attractive.
Then you only call me the alcoholic.
Yeah, that was karmic retribution, right? That was instant karmic retribution.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about
Ajin?
how do you pronounce it? Ajin? Ajin? I guess that's.
We just call it Demi-Human because I'm not sure how to say it. I mean, I know it's only 4 letters, but I'm not sure how to say it right.
Yeah. It's like Asian, and I was like, "That's not right." Asian. Yeah, it was bad. So yeah, we'll just be referring to it as Demi-Human.
Yeah, the alphabet's not kicking in, huh?
I know. Yeah, it really helps. Clearly, a lot. If this is like
good.
yeah. So if this is my state after having taken the supposed like intelligence booster pill, it's really sad that this is my boosted state.
You haven't even actually have reached my highest level, or like my final form.
This isn't even my final form, yeah. So Demi-Human is based on a manga serialized in Good Afternoon magazine by Gaemon Sakurai. Maybe Gamon Sakurai? Probably not Gaemon Sakurai.
Sorry. You should say gay man Sakurai.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm not good at any language this episode. There's 7 volumes currently in the series, and the show is animated by Polygon Pictures, which did Knights of Sidonia, which is pretty cool. You may have heard that episode.
Oh, it was the same studio?
Yeah, Polygon Studios. And fun fact, the director is Hiroyuki. Is that right? Seshita? Hiroyuki Seshita? I feel like that. I hope that's right. I hope my typey program didn't
autocorrect did not what you wanted.
It. Yeah. And he was the assistant director on the first Knights of Sidonia series, and he was the director of the second season.
So and he directed this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, moving up in the world. Good for you, Sashitama.
I know. Pretty sweet. So the series, the anime is coming soon to Netflix. It's currently not licensed by anybody else. Like Knights of Sidonia is licensed by Sentai Filmworks, so they're putting it out on video and stuff like that. So the rumor is that Demi-Human's probably going to show up on Netflix in April or something. So, which would make sense because Sidonia always showed up on Netflix
right after it finished airing. Right?
Pretty much right after it finished airing in Japan. The manga, on the other hand, is available. It's published in the United States by Vertical. It's always in Barnes & Noble. It's pretty much everywhere. I think 6 of the 7 books are currently out, so they're pretty much caught up. And also the manga is on Crunchyroll, and that they do the latest chapter each time it comes out in Japan, so they're up to date.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. This is a kind of a weird one though, because I don't know if you know this, but Polygon Pictures originally, the original Demi-Human animated project was a trilogy of movies. And the first movie came out, I think, in the fall last year.
Were they animated movies, or were they?
Yeah, and so the TV show is like the expanded version of the films, and the next movie comes out in May. But what I don't understand, because I haven't seen the movie, I don't really know what they've skipped or.
Yeah, I wonder what's showing what.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, it's a really strange because I looked at the trailer for the first film and it looks like pretty much what's covered in the first 5, 6 episodes of the show.
Huh.
Yeah, so go figure. I've never
Maybe it's just like super popular and they're double dipping.
maybe. I mean, it just seems because I know there was a Knights of Sidonia movie, but it was a recap
Is it
movie.
like the same animation style and everything too?
Yeah, it's I think the same animation.
That's interesting because I saw some fights that I didn't see in the anime that I thought I would have, and so maybe those were in the movies when I saw like the YouTube clips of them or something like that.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, I don't know if the first one's come out on home video or not, but so yeah, that's really weird. I don't understand what. So I just don't know what's up with that. The second film looks like theoretically it's going to cover the second half of the 13 episode anime. So I wonder if the third film is going to be like an original ending or something.
It's just like how they're gonna work all that out.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works because I've just I can't remember ever seeing like a rollout like that before. So it's going to be 13 episodes, as I said. There's going to be an OVA episode included with the Japanese collector's edition of the eighth manga volume. And that's an interesting point because the 5 episodes we watched pretty much covers the first two books exactly, except the last chapter in volume 2 is chapter 00, and that's what's going to be the OVA in with volume 8. Uh, so
Cool.
cool. So what'd you think?
Uh, I think it like when I was reading the because I read the manga. I'm current on the manga, and also I've just watched the first 5 episodes of this. Um, the anime was so much scarier than the manga to me. I
Mm,
thought that they did a really good job, like sort of adapting it and making it seem sort of like realer and scarier. But they also did some changes that I didn't like, so that we can get into when we go into more in depth. I would say it's like not like super super raw good, but I think it's definitely solid and like the music. Like I mean, there's just certain parts of it that are like really really good, and then there's some parts that sort of like leave a little to be desired, at least for me.
mm,
So it seemed like so if you really care about the stuff that I think it was lacking on, then you might not like it as much. But if you don't care about that stuff and like really like the audio quality or like the fights and all that other stuff that's going on, then I think that's where the major variance will be on people and like what they thought of it.
yeah.
What did you think?
Uh, Pretty similar to you. I feel like it's a good pick for a Netflix series. I think Netflix is. I mean, it seems similar to Sidonia in terms of that. I mean, it is. I mean, it's an anime, but at the same time, you can see people who really aren't, who've really never watched an anime before, getting into it and being interested and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think Netflix just announced an original anime series that they're going to stream on Netflix too. But I don't know many of I haven't read the article, but
Another new Daredevil
that's,
is coming out pretty soon.
there's that too. Yeah, so Netflix is. I mean, I think it's cool that they're really getting into
Netflix has
financing
like
companies.
become a monster.
Yeah, they've really. It's pretty
They
sweet.
kind of
So
do whatever the fuck they're like hosting comedians. They're doing Japanese animation. They're doing their own films, their own series, their own like whatever. It's insane.
yeah, and I think that's the best way for them to to continue growing is to just diversify into everything. I mean,
Right. It's almost
because
like
people
if
watch
cable
it.
television was good.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Um, so with Demi-Human, I had a similar experience that I had with Sidonia, which is I thought it was very well done
Right.
overall. I thought it was well directed. The production values I liked, but I felt like they skipped over some things that bothered me. And I feel like overall, what's interesting is Demi-Human and also Sidonia are both very gritty. They have very gritty art styles. Like there's a lot of dirt, and when the gory scenes are very textured and stuff like that. And I felt like that was something that really didn't carry over to either of those shows. There was only a few scenes in Sidonia, usually I think in the second season, where it was starting to like get into that murky visual quality. Well, maybe murky is not a good word, but that textured visual quality that so the Sidonia manga had. And I feel like with Demi-Human, I feel like Polygon pictures, they've really improved their facial expressions. So like season one of Sidonia was, I mean, it was good, but you could see how they were kind of getting better with
Right.
each episode.
And I think it's like with the using CG
Yeah,
is a factor because it's sort of like it's a newer technology, but then they
yeah,
can do a lot of stuff with it. Like there were some scenes that they cut out and or replaced, which I'm sure you also noticed in this, the different from the manga, similar to like the underwater scene when they did, and I was like, oh, well, they're probably just using these landscapes because that's what they've because they can use it in like on like multiple different levels. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like on multiple different scenes. Whereas like this part in particular, you know,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree, and I just think that the way they're handling character designs now and Demi-Human really, I think they really got the what the characters look like in the original manga. I think they really did a good job adapting Sakurai's character designs from the series. Whereas I feel like I wish all of Sidonia kind of looked like season two of Sidonia, which is they were really starting to get Nihei's character designs down really
well, I
well.
mean, and you'd say Ajin's like season two, right? Or would you say it's more like season one?
I think it's better than season two.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think,
well, yeah, me
yeah,
too. I
yeah.
think that the animations like there were some parts where I like actually was like, I'm like, okay, I'm creeped out, you know.
Yeah, I think, and also too, their sound design is
Oh
phenomenal.
my
I mean,
god,
their
so good,
sounds, and
dude.
that was something that really impressed me in Sidonia both seasons. Was I
Yeah.
was like, it really sounded awesome because a lot of times in anime they reuse the same sound effects. You recognize stuff, and you've heard it a million times. And I was really, I mean, I've been really impressed with. I mean, Demi-Human and Sidonia always sounded very intense, like very like new.
Right.
Mm. So, and then I mean, this is something they did with Sidonia too, is they really cleaned it up a lot. There's not the violence just isn't the same as it is in the comics. There were some scenes in Sidonia that were pretty graphic that just got left out of the anime, or they were toned down a lot. And this was the same. I felt like it was really not. I think they did a they directed it in a way where you didn't really notice. It wasn't like the bright light or like a dark half of the screen to cover something up that they do in other shows. I think they
Cough,
did it
terraformers,
pretty.
cough.
Yeah, I think they did it artfully, but it just wasn't as gruesome as the manga. Or that was just
I
my.
actually I would say I disagree because I thought that the violence in
Mm.
this was more impactful than in the manga.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like and like that's sort of what I was saying before. Like with like the weight of stuff. I mean, I can't really get into it without going into potential like spoiler zone, but there's some things where I was like, this is having much more of a like intense feeling or intense level of impact to me than the manga gave me when I read it. You
Hmm.
know,
Okay.
so
Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Okay, yeah, we'll
yeah,
have to get into
yeah.
it
But I
because.
mean, so all in all, it's like recommend but not like overly recommend sort of thing. Like I would recommend Erased before I recommend this, but I would say
Yeah.
that this is still like a good thing to check out, especially if you like the horror genre. I think this is good.
Yeah, and I think too that it's a good show for Netflix because it's very uh
Binge watching.
it's very binge watchable.
Right. So like
Yeah,
if you just had all of it, I think that the parts that sort of bothered me, you just get on to the next episode, and then there'd be the
yeah,
good stuff that sort of like take you out of that like
yeah,
thing. But if you don't have that next click to see the next thing, then it'll like it might dip down enough so you're like, ah, I'll wait a couple weeks before I watch it or whatever.
yeah.
Meanwhile, the new episode of Race came out today. and I haven't watched
I,
it yet, but I'm watching
I
it.
haven't. I've got to
Watching
watch
it after
that.
this
That's
podcast.
yeah. That's a different issue entirely.
I
So
need
yeah,
to
I
find out
recommend
what's
it
going
too.
on with that vehicle and the thing in the dirt.
That show is like that. Just like thinking about that show, knowing that there's a new episode is that's tough. But yeah. So I recommend it too. Everybody should check it out when it hits Netflix, and also I think people should definitely pick up the comics and support Vertical. There's only 6 books.
Right.
It's easy to get. It's on
There's
Crunchyroll.
some stuff that they do that's pretty unique, that's pretty cool. Some like the way that they
Yeah,
do the fight scenes and like different sort of like tactics. And the main character isn't really strong,
yeah,
so which is a factor. Like I
yeah,
don't think he's really ever wins a battle head on.
yeah.
I don't
Not
even know
so
if he
far, it
ever even
seems.
fights a battle head on.
I don't. I don't think he's really done that yet because he's still. Because I know he has a lot of like the dust, like the black dust or whatever. But
Right. But anyway,
and then he has like anyway, yeah.
yeah,
So
we're going into the spoiler zone now.
for now, yeah, we're going into spoiler zone now. So if you haven't watched the first 5 episodes, if you haven't read the manga, go do those things
Yeah.
and then come back and join us for this
Right.
this discussion. But if you have, then yeah, let's get right into it.
So something that I thought was funny is that there's during the opening, there's a little English thing that says "good!" exclamation point, and I was like, that's appropriate because this opener's pretty good.
I didn't notice that, but that's funny because the magazine it's in is called Good Afternoon, and the title it's good in lowercase with an exclamation mark, and then
Oh, maybe it was
cause,
just saying that it was from that magazine
oh maybe yeah
because it
yeah
was good all in lower cases with an
oh
exclamation
okay
point.
that it could have been that because
Good.
it's like a it's not afternoon the afternoon magazine has Vinland Saga and Blade of the Immortal and stuff like that, so it's not in the prime afternoon magazine. This is sort of like a spin-off one,
Okay.
so yeah, same publisher, but
So the first thing that with the beginning of it, I just sort of felt like it was just like a normal beginning of an anime. Like nothing really stood out to me until homie got hit by a car, and then there was that noise, that like weird static, like electronic whatever noise that happens
yeah.
when he comes back. That is so good. like
Yeah, that was really sweet. That was really
like
cool.
it's just like the distorted sort of like it's almost like a nails on the chalkboard, but like a electronical. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like nails on a chalkboard, but not like because that I just like can't listen to. Whereas this is creepy, but you can. It sounds good too. Like
Right.
it hits that nice. Yeah, this was basically a big lesson of you look both ways before you cross the fucking street.
By the way.
This
Well,
all of this
unless
could
you
have
want to
been.
know
Yeah,
that you're invulnerable, like
yeah,
maybe
there we go.
maybe you're fine,
Yeah,
or
that's true. Yeah,
or what have
maybe
you.
that's true. Yeah, so yeah, I had a couple of points with this because it was a very standard, first opening salvo of an anime. He's in school. He's a super hard studying student.
Right.
He's not really the most likable guy, but he's trying to be a doctor or something like that. So he's working really hard. His friends mooch off of him to get good grades and stuff like that, and
Right.
aren't really great people anyway. But what's interesting is the scene in Africa in the opening.
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah. It's not in the manga. Not that I remember. It's definitely not how the manga starts.
Who do you
Uh,
think that guy is?
yeah, that I don't know.
I think because they're always talking about like a Nakamura Shinya or something like that, which is a character that I don't
Yeah,
recognize.
he's going to be in the OVA, and he's like a kid who was able to manifest multiple IBMs. I'm going to say that over Black Ghost, but IBMs literally whenever they said that in the manga, I would
Just
always
think
think
about
about.
computers.
No, I thought about computers, but irritable, like an irritable bowel syndrome kind of thing. So it's like they're poop ghosts. I was like, oof.
That got
Yeah,
dark real fast. Dude.
that got
Yeah, and how they're
uh,
talking about like how he was like the soldier of God or something, like because they couldn't
yeah,
kill him, and then they're talking about like how they like tried to take him out, but like couldn't. I don't know. I feel like he was like one of the first,
yeah.
or He's
Well, it seemed like
Sato.
he it could be Sato. I mean, it seemed like he was the first, because that's what they said at school, was that that was the first recorded incident. And I got the picture that he had been working as a mercenary for a while, and then finally a government, I guess it was the American government, came in, swept him up, and
Yeah.
he's probably in. Actually, there's probably multiple versions of him because they've probably cut off his head and had it regrow a couple of times, you know.
You
So
know,
there's probably like an army of him. Maybe that'll be like
do you
something.
really
Because
get that like whole weird like philosophical shit that's going on with that?
yeah, the parts of the manga that I've read that go past it talk about it a little more. I think it's an interesting concept, but it hasn't. I don't think it's happened yet in the comics, so I'm not really sure.
Oh, it's
It
happened.
is a cool. Oh, it's happened. Oh,
Guess who did
okay.
it?
Wait, I don't think I want to know. I because I've only read the first six books.
Oh, it's fucking badass,
Oh god.
man.
So is it like a copy of themselves?
Yeah, it seems like nothing changes.
Okay. All right. So you
It's not
okay.
like there's like a zombie like you know, like nothing's weird. It's just like, but then again, who knows?
Oh shit! Yeah, I did forget the OVA episode. I think that's what happened to Shinya Nakamura. Is he lost his head in a motorcycle accident, and he wakes up and like someone finds his head basically, and he hadn't found his head.
Uh,
So yeah, I did read that. Yeah. Um,
Wait, and that's in the so the OVA is out.
no, I just read that chapter is in volume two, at least in the English edition.
Huh.
Uh, so
Good.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I guess if nothing really changes, then I don't really get the philosophical stuff because it would be interesting if there was something more to it than that. And it kind of gets the way it gets mentioned in the show, an episode. I think it's three. Or four actually. I think it could be. The way it gets brought up by the bad guy, it kind of seems like a really ominous future thing that's going to happen. But if nothing really changes, then.
It's
But I mean, I just got to read it. Yeah.
yeah, the scene that happens, fucking, it's dope. What happens? But
Uh,
anyway, that's really far off in the anime and fairly recent in the manga.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
African scene though was really cool. I really
it
sort of
was
liked
cool.
it, and I liked how it sort of added this worldly thing. I want to talk about the manga as much as I want to talk about the anime. I guess I gotta scale it back a little bit, but
Yeah. No, I understand that. Another interesting point too is his mom isn't in. Like, there's no scene of him waking up. That's all anime original, where he wakes up and says bye to his mom and stuff like that. Um,
I think I just cared so little about it.
yeah,
I
I
didn't
mean
even pay
it's
attention.
kind of a throwaway scene
The
because the mom doesn't really do anything
Yeah,
except kind of generally. It seems like his whole family just generally dislikes him.
yeah.
Uh,
And his mom's kind of like a, you know, you can't talk to what's his face? What was that guy's name?
oh,
Yeah,
Kaito.
you can't talk to Kaito because his dad was a criminal, and he's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah,
it's weird because I feel like they tried to make him a more likable main character, when in the manga I feel like it's pretty clear that he's not a likable main character.
yeah. He's definitely more likable in the
Like
anime.
there's the scene where he was crying, he was like really upset about how Kaito like was offering his one life, and although that was similar to to what happened in the manga, it was nowhere near as intense. It
Yeah,
wasn't just like, oh, it was his only life and I can't offer that to him. It was just like, I'm like, that was pretty fucking cool. Like, you know, whatever. But then, like, he's like down with, you know, letting these other people die as sacrificial pawns. Like, he's
yeah,
sort of a sociopath.
yeah. He's
Like
definitely a
he really
sociopath.
doesn't
Yeah,
relate to people. He relates to people in the way that he can gain from them. And I don't, and I liked that they had that in the manga, and I don't think um, that they translated that particularly well, or they did
yeah.
like back and forth. You know, like
Yeah, it was kind of uneven because he's definitely. he definitely seems like he's more of like a main character type in the anime, whereas in the manga he's really, I mean, what, and I think it's kind of it comes across as uneven in the anime because in the manga it's pretty clear that his biggest disappointment with this whole thing happening is that he was working really hard to be like a good human,
Right.
to,
Right.
to like be, and that was his project, and then when it got derailed, that's where he's having a really hard time. He's
Right.
like, wait a second.
Because it was just his project. It was, but that's how he
Yeah,
saw it. He saw it as a project, not like what he
yeah,
wanted to be. Not that he wanted to help people, but he was just like,
yeah.
this will get me like a certain level of recognition or a certain level of status, which I would like for myself.
Yeah, and he just wanted to live quietly and have a normal life. So that was like his project was to sort of like arrange everything so that could happen.
Right.
He really, but again, not because he was good, like you're saying, not because he loves humanity or anything like that. It just because it suits him or whatever, he likes it. So yeah, I think in the anime it gets a little muddled because he goes back and forth from being like Kaito to like
Like fuck
obviously,
it.
yeah. So
Although one thing, God. All right, so there's going to be a little bit of manga spoilers that are just going to happen in this conversation
yeah,
because we're sort of comparing the two.
yeah,
So it's like spoilers and spoilers. What does it mean? But like one thing that I didn't think, so he sort of gets used to killing himself fairly quickly, which I didn't really think about. But it was because
yeah.
he was 10 days in that lab where all he did was kill him. Like I almost feel like that entire thing was to like get him to accept using his immortality as a tool.
Yeah, because I mean, he's just starting to get used to that after the motorcycle crash, and he kills himself to reset his broken leg or whatever. And you can kind of see that's like the
Well,
first
that's when
point.
he's starting to like think about it, but he was
Yeah,
still like kind of hesitant about it and all
yeah.
that jazz. But then like God, when they did the drill and they're like, let's start with the teeth.
The
Yeah,
dental stuff really fucks me up because
man.
oh god. And what's interesting about that is in the manga there's a chapter. So remember the friend, and the last time we see his group of friends, they're all kind of joking about how like oh now our grades are gonna suck because he's gone and stuff like that.
Right.
Remember there was a taller one who was not into shit talking him
Right.
really. So you probably remember this because of the manga, but there's a whole chapter just about him and how he like wants to like do something for Nagai, and he's like he joins like a mailing list for like
That was
the
later.
that's while he's being tortured.
I don't
Uh,
think it is while I was being tortured. I think it's later.
no, it is
Oh,
because
did you check? Like, are you sure?
yeah,
Oh,
I've got
okay.
it. Yeah. So
You're
it
like,
actually
I got
takes
the fucking.
place.
Here is the page. Let me whip out the book. Oh, I shouldn't have been asked. I should have known better
Yeah,
than to question.
yeah, I've got it here. It starts that internal conversation he has with that dude actually the one you were talking about where he's like, "No, I don't want to kill him," and stuff like that. It's in between that and
I thought that
um
scene was really good. It was
yeah,
like,
that's it.
I don't
That's it.
want to kill him, and then like instead of the claws, it was just like wristed him, and the guy was like,
Yeah.
ugh, what?
He was like, "Was that wind?" Yeah, it's in between that and when Sato gives the organs to the Yakuza guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so
that's
but
kind of shit anyway. I didn't feel like it
it,
was
it's
that
it's
important.
I mean, not really. It showed that the government was keeping track of sympathizers, like people who didn't agree with like the mainline like
Oh yeah.
view. So that was important. But the other side of it that I thought was useful is it really gave you a sense that Nagai was in there for 10 days. Like it just spread it out a little more. So so when he does like get unwrapped and stuff like that. I mean, I read the book too in one sitting, so it's not like I spread it out over a month or
Right,
something.
but it gave you a
But
little bit more of a feel to it. That's
yeah,
right. When I was watching the anime, I was like, oh, 10 days. I thought it was like one or
yeah, it was.
two.
I actually thought it was one too, and I was like that. But he just got here,
Yeah.
So that was
But
like there's
I can see
little.
why they cut it though.
Yeah, I can
You
too.
know?
But just like little stuff like that, because the same thing was happening in Sidonia too. They'd take out little stuff that
But
just.
you kind of I mean, I guess you
I mean,
don't
you
like
kind of understand.
have to, but you kind of have
Yeah,
to. I don't know.
yeah,
Like of the things to cut though, I would say that
oh yeah. I mean,
that
really,
was a good
all that
choice.
happens is the dude gets broken up by his girlfriend.
Right,
She dumps him
because he
because
gets
he's
too
like,
obsessive.
yeah, he gets too obsessed with them, like the whole Demi-Human situation. So I think that that
But
takes care of episode one for sure.
oh, well, we've been. I wasn't paying attention to
Oh,
that.
I for some reason went back to it.
But what was it? So a major change, I would say, like the first major change that happened, at least that stood out to me, was when they were trying to hunt him down, and they ran into, I think they went to like the gas station, and then those guys followed them in a van while they're trying
uh,
to rape the girl. When in the manga, he stumbled across them in the woods, um, which was
I
just like
forgot.
super different. And then the fight was like in this it was on the side of the road, whereas in the manga it was in the woods, which was just kind of weird, but no problem. One thing though that I thought was really interesting is because I so when I watch these I try to like notice things I'm not sure if you notice, so I can like pretend like I'm intelligent so I can impress you, so maybe you'll like me more. So after he did the scream and the girl, oh by the way, the girl fucking escaping those bonds was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was silly.
That was
And did
so
you notice?
ridiculous. What? He's an I. I'm out of
Yeah.
here. Like when I'm gonna
Did you
get
know?
raped, it's like whatever, man. Like my hands are
Yeah.
tied, but I'm like, what? He's a demi-human. Like it's time to run.
That what was it, 10 million yen reward really got her moving. But
Well, I mean, she just ran. She wasn't even going after
yeah.
him.
But what's funny is about that in the previous scene she was in, her mouth was covered, and then when we go back to her in the van, her mouth uncovered.
Yeah, it seems like they weren't able to really keep shit together when they didn't follow the manga. Like when
Yeah.
they were doing their own interpretation, they were like, fuck it. Like it just wasn't really able to keep it all together. But
She's actually the strongest demi-human.
yeah, then we find out. Um, but when they were leaving in the car, there was her. So she was still frozen behind the van when they drove off, and you could see her silhouette.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Boom! Notice me, senpai.
Because she gets away in the manga, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So she didn't get away in the anime. That's hilarious.
No, she did.
She did,
She was
but
just
if she was,
she was
but
outside of the car, and then they drove away. So she was just on the side of the road, but she was still like fucking stuck. Or whatever. She just wasn't moving, but you can see like a weird like sort of silhouette like of like the red.
oh, I didn't see that at all. I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man.
She's like, I'm still frozen, guys.
Right. Well, at least she's not gonna get raped by those creepers.
Yeah, I guess that. Well, definitely not, because they're in pieces by the end of this one.
Oh my god!
That was
I thought
that was pretty cool when it was
that
holding
scene
his
was
head.
so good. That scene was so fucking good. I watched it twice, which like I
Yeah, yeah.
generally don't do that shit unless I'm trying to impress you. But but yeah, like when he grabbed the head and it was like creeping up, and then what do you say? It's like I didn't do anything wrong. Die, all of
Yeah.
you. And I was just like, ah, like what?
And then I liked it when it was on the top of the telephone pole and it was kind of bouncing a little and it said it had to pee.
Right.
That creepy fucking
It's
thing.
so creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's really
like the whole yeah, that was
yeah.
crazy.
That was super cool though. That was and I really like how they do the voice because in the manga it's like they're talking and I never really thought about how they sounded while I was reading it and then in the anime I was like that they did it.
That's how that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That's how they would sound. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
like
it's so creepy.
super creepy. Yeah. And later too, right?
And it's almost like a kid's voice too, or something like that,
Yeah.
like a distorted, sadistic kid's voice.
Yeah. Cuz he gets chastised later, right? Because he's had his for a long time, but because he's ignored it, it kind of does
Yeah,
whatever.
it has its own sort of
Yeah.
personality. Yeah,
Yeah. Which is interesting. Yeah, cuz everybody else's is kind of more or less obeys,
yeah.
their command sort of. Yeah. Uh yeah, that was cool. Episode 3,
Oh, do
was
you
there
remember like also in during the fight scene on the side of the road? Like this just shows how like weak the main character was. So he froze him after the screen and he hit the guy. It was just like boom.
Yeah.
And then the guy just
The-
fell over, but it wasn't like bam. It was just like because the main character is so weak.
And I thought it was funny that it looked like him hitting his head was way worse than getting punched by him.
Right. Yeah, actually, like the landing, and also the whole like the bike chase scene, I also thought was really well done.
Yeah,
Like
that was well done.
and the way that they showed like the roads at night, it really gave you that sort of like moving fast but kind of claustrophobic because you can't really see feeling.
Yeah.
Like these are the things that I like really liked about what the anime did.
Yeah, they really got the atmosphere down really well. I mean, like it they just the lighting is nice. The directing is really good, I thought too, and the motorcycle scenes were done really well. Yeah, and I like the only thing that did bug me, well, I mean, this kind of bugged me in the manga too, is how like they fell from such a height after flying off of the guardrail, and because it looked like it was pretty far.
But also ramps, they hit and
Yeah.
rolled and hit and rolled.
Does Kaito does he did he crash into the water? I'm trying to remember because in the anime he just like flops on the ground, but
He
I
was
seem
in
to
the
remember.
water. I thought that too. It did show him over in the water. He was in the water in the manga. The person on the ground that you probably thought was Kaito uh was Nagai.
Oh, really? He was in the
Yeah,
water
because I
still?
remember thinking like, wait a minute, but no, the guy was over in the water.
Really? Because I
I'm
huh.
pretty sure. I mean, because I remember like thinking that, or maybe it was like one scene he was on the ground, the other scene he was on the water. But I do remember being like, he was supposed to be on the water.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then he was on the water, so
Huh. Yeah, that was a little weird too because it yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that was strange.
yeah,
So that I think probably my favorite scene in these 5 episodes was at the end of episode 3, which is when Izumi gets attacked when she's interviewing the little sister,
yeah.
and she gets stabbed from behind by the claws. But what I really thought was fucking awesome is when the guards were looking at the after when she falls on the when Izumi all the blood spurts and stuff.
It,
The footprint, the footprint. And
yeah,
then when it drags its claws along the wall before it starts killing the guards.
and that's like when I was talking about how I felt like that this had like more violence in it.
Mm.
Like I thought that like that the monster killed both of the guards first in the manga.
Let me check.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got
This
it.
is like all of it. They're just like only like fact checking shit or
Yeah.
whatever. Like
It, no, no, no. It hits her. It hits Azumi first.
okay.
Yeah, and then kills the guards. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Now, another thing I thought of too is I feel like it's easier to tell the different IBMs apart in the manga, whereas in the anime they kind of blend together a little bit.
Right.
And I know they're all supposed to be the same color and shit like that, but I feel like in the manga there's like a different tone, especially at least in this fight that I'm looking at, and that's in episode 3. There's a different tone on each of the ghosts, so you can kind of tell them apart. And I do wish that they had put like a tint or something like that on it a little bit, just to differentiate between the two. Because it was just while they were fighting, it was really cool, but I did find it hard to. I feel like it could have benefited from a little more clarity or something, like a different filter or something on one of them. Um, but that's a minor nitpick. I mean, it was still badass.
But so I just double checked, and he isn't. So like the main body that you see that catches your attention is the main characters because he has blood going off into the river, and then over like next to the river is where Kagai is. So he's like right at the water. I don't know if he's necessarily like
Oh,
in it.
in the show, in
Yeah,
the show.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I wish they had accented it that more because my impression was that he just hit the ground too and was just like, just kidding. I'm
I'm
back.
burned. I'm burned. I'm burned. Yeah.
Um,
And also, like, well, like in that, it looked like he just punched the guy instead of like hitting him with a rock in the anime.
oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, where they were used before a rock to break it. So it's weird.
Yeah.
So I guess like the violence in that scene is toned down a little bit in comparison to the manga, but I would say like the fight in like the interview scene, I think it's toned up. I think it's like way more intense. The claws, like the scraping of the claws through like the door and the wall, and like just massacring fucking everyone. I
Yeah.
just thought was like super intense. Of course the scene again with Sato versus the guards, like that we
Oh, that was fucking
like
sweet.
that's super
Yeah.
intense, very bloody, hands flopping around, like
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, the Black Ghost fight in episode 4 is I think the standout with that. I thought it was funny how easy it was for Sato to get information out of the little sister. He just basically showed her a business card and was like, "We're part of the Bureau. God, jeez, I can't speak English tonight.
yeah,
The Bureau of Federal Investigations or
but
whatever.
I'm just trying to help out people. Well,
Yeah,
well,
just trying to.
it's because like before they were talking about the brother, and in this one, what motivated her was because she seems to have a little crush on Kaito.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
So
Hmm.
she's like, "Will you protect Kaito?" And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, well, I'll tell you what I know."
Yeah, that's true. Uh,
Um, oh, I
so
thought
he
that the
ditches.
sidekick seemed way more badass in this one than in the manga. The
Uh,
Shimomura,
Izumi, the girl.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
she's pretty badass in the manga.
she's pretty badass, and like she seemed like really badass in this one.
Oh, okay.
To me at least, she seemed like she had more of a presence. In the
Hmm.
manga, I didn't feel like she had much of a presence.
That's interesting. Her backstory. Holy shit. Do you remember that from the manga?
No, I'm not sure if I do.
I think that's in volume 6. I don't have it here on the table, but her backstory is like fucking intense because she calls her Black Ghost Kuro-chan, and the backstory shows a little how they first met and stuff like that. And
Huh?
yeah, it's pretty.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that gets into the anime because that was pretty rough. That was like that was a pretty rough story. Um, that would be cool though because she's a cool character. Uh, so the guy ditches Kaito, which I always kind of feel bad about. I was like, that sucks. And then he chills out. He meets with Sato and who's the other guy?
Tanaka,
Tanaki
yeah.
Tanaka. Yeah. So he meets with them, gets darted.
Yeah, but I mean, did that scene really like stand? I don't know. I mean, it was all right.
Yeah, I like. I mean, what I liked about it is and this part in the manga too is I was really on the fence of what Sato was doing basically. So like now I know he's super evil, but back then I was like, oh, he could be.
He could be a good guy. I was just
Could
like,
be like,
it's just like I want to make sure you're not a failure. Like
yeah,
he's hardcore as fuck.
he
But
is like
um,
he's scary.
I also like just like little different things. Like in the manga with the priest, it showed you like when he was saying like oh, and there's just like a priest that comes here occasionally, and then like the next panel I think it was he was like unfortunately he was here today, and you see his mangled body hiding behind the building, and then
Yeah,
in this one it's like you see it opening on the fifth episode, so it's like
yeah,
you don't even really remember. It's like who's this dead guy? Oh, I guess
yeah,
it's the priest, but it's like you don't really like have that connection. Like these guys fucked that guy up.
yeah. The anime I feel like is not quite as tightly written as the manga. Like, not it's just a little mushy on the sides, I guess. But I mean, even though it was toned down a little, I felt it was toned down a little bit. The torture scene is still like,
Search scene's super intense, and like on the claw scene, like
oh
when he's
god,
like
yeah, I forgot about that.
when he's
Yeah,
like was that over there? And then like you just have this feeling of like this fucking ghost thing rampaging
yeah,
in the room around these people, and they're just like barely a lot like their life could end at any fucking moment. And
yeah.
then
And I loved it. I loved it how they asked the doctors outside, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's always been there. Don't worry about it." And then when the sound got cut, they were like, "Oh fuck," because it is he is a variant. Like,
right.
That was really funny.
Like,
And I
they'll push talk. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Holy shit!
yeah, and I loved how ah what's his name? The glasses guy.
You, Tosakai,
Yeah,
Tosakai, Tosakai.
yeah. I loved how he was like, "Where is it now?"
It
And
was just
she
like
was like,
staring right
"It's
at you.
staring right at you."
Yeah, that
And
scene was so fucking intense too. It's just like,
yeah, it was just looking at him. And what's funny is I didn't notice this reading the manga, but in the anime, he's irritated when he's called Tozaki instead of Tosaki.
right.
And Sata, when he's talking to him over the like the security camera thing, he says Tozaki. So it's just like a little. I just didn't notice it in the manga.
Oh, I didn't notice that either. Wait, so
Yeah, he mispronounced his name,
that's a good
and I
son of a
probably
bitch.
intentionally. Yeah, he was just like, ugh.
It's like this isn't the time to correct him.
Yeah, it's like I guess I could do that. And
Did you figure out what Ikia's what that like scientist guy's shirt said?
I'd have to go back to it, but I think it said something like all I know for it said something to the effect of like all I know for sure is my own ignorance or something like that. Like
It was something neat. I remember, but
yeah,
it was like a sort of cool statement thing.
yeah, it was pretty sweet. He's a fun character too.
Yeah, completely nuts.
Totally nuts.
Yeah.
Like you, that ship sailed.
And he
Like that.
knows it, and he knows.
Yeah, and he's totally accepted it. He's like, yep, that's not ever coming back to port. Yep. And I like how he gets mad at the general guy because he's like, they're not ghosts, they're not magical. It's actually a form of matter. Like it's just not. It's not just like a spiritual energy or something. And I felt like that was a let's separate this from JoJo, you know, in the stands and stuff like
Oh,
that.
really?
It's like it's not a spiritual energy or like a fighting spirit or something like that.
Right.
So I like that. And I already talked about the what they took out with his friend who joined the abolition of discrimination against demi-human site or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
So what about?
so yeah, I guess the last thing I thought was cool was and it was funny in the manga and it's funny in the anime when Sato wakes up Nagai, frees him, and thinks about when he saved the other guy, and how the guy got super pissed and was like, "I'm ready to fuck people up," and Nagai is just like, "Wow, I'm really sorry for troubling you," and Sato is just like, "Well, that
Yeah,
failure,
this has turned
that
into
still
a
didn't
total
work."
failure.
Yeah, and it's
But
cool because
it's
the
like it's
main
so interesting because it's like not Sato, the main guy.
oh Nagai,
Yeah, Nagai is like totally fucking nuts. Like he would totally be fine with killing everybody,
yeah.
except for he's like dude, man, bro, Kaito, help me out. So I don't really want him to be disappointed in me. I don't really want people to be disappointed in me. So I guess I
Yeah,
won't kill.
and again, he just wants to live a quiet, normal life. He's not
But not
interested in.
like in a quiet normal life kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not interested in fucking up the world. I mean, he doesn't have like that grand scheme. It just seems like
You're right, because
like right
even
now.
when he met him, he's like I think that the Ajin will be like two types of people, like
Yeah,
troublemakers or just like keep things low key. And then he looked over
yeah,
at Tanaka and he was like, "You're a troublemaker."
yeah, troublemaker. Yeah, so it's interesting. He's not. I think it's cool that he's not a good character. Like he's not a positive person, but he's just not as bad as Sato. And also, Sato can't control him like he does the other guys that he teams up with, where he can use their anger to to his own ends, really.
Right.
So I think Nagai, like you were
Did
saying
you
earlier.
did you get to the flashback of Sato's backstory in the manga?
No, I haven't gotten to that point.
Woo! It is good.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, so it's interesting. Like you said before, Nagai, sees people as like means to an end. Similar. I mean, I
I would say similar to
like
Sato.
yeah, similar to Sato, but just different goals. And it's an interesting. It's a nice foil because they're actually very similar, but they're interested in taking advantage of other people in different ways, so that's why they can't work together.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I wish that episode 5 took us to episode 6 because there's some stuff that happens in that's gonna happen in episode 6 that
yeah,
I sort of want to talk about, but whatever.
yeah,
So the fight scene of all fight scenes, when Sato took out those guards, and the way how all of that worked out, and how it was like the best adaptation from the manga, like cutting off the hand, just
mm,
the way they did that. I mean, we talked about this before earlier, but I just wanted to like get it on tape, which was when he got hit with the tranquilizer dart, threw his hand up against the wall, took out his machete, and then chopped off his own arm. You know, and
yeah,
now in the manga, they just had him like take the blade out and just pop it off
yeah. He
while he
just
was standing there. But it was like nowhere near as as fluid, weighted, and intense
mm,
as that scene, which I thought was cool. And then he gets darted, and they're like, "Oh, you just need to get one dart, and they're fine." No, bro, Sato just shoots himself in the head.
yeah, resets.
Resets. Get your chemicals out of my body. We're taking it. Then he kills the rest of them. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even need to call him my dude, man, bro."
Yeah, that scene is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's just great. I've watched it several times now, and I watched it a bunch of times when I watched the episode. Apart from the clip you sent me, what was it, a couple weeks ago?
yeah.
I watched that several times. I mean, it's just a great. It's just so well done.
It's
I mean, it's
so well
just
done. Um. Oh,
yeah.
something I want to talk about the ending is I really like how it's just him killing himself or dying over and over and over again. But it has
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these like little wispy, like cool, like
yeah. It's very
flowery
like
designs.
yeah. It looks like a like a card you'd send somebody, with those designs on it. It's like very loopy and pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The ending was funny, and the song is like not as creepy as it should be. It's kind of like upbeat, and there's all
Right. Like
there's like
just constant
people hanging.
death.
Yeah, like it's him hanging off of like the electrical wires and stuff like that.
Him when he took the two pieces of wood and stabbed himself. It hadn't
Yeah,
happened
yeah, it hasn't happened in the
in the
anime,
anime
but
yet, but
yeah,
they showed it on the ending.
he gets really hardcore.
Well, and I think it's because of this because they were like, how many times has he died? Oh, well, he hasn't died a lot, and then they just spend days killing him. So
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so it's just like it's sort of like when you're little and you like get a little scratch or something like that. It's like the end of the fucking world. But like after you've
yeah,
like broken something or like really suffered some pain, you don't really
yeah,
care. You're just like, God, I stubbed my toe.
yeah. It doesn't register the same way.
Yeah.
Although toast ups fuck you
I
up,
mean,
man.
they hurt. Like, it's like,
They hurt.
but it's not like, I mean, if you're a kid, you just be like, I can't
Yeah.
even walk. I
Ah!
don't even know who I am.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he just builds up a tolerance
Yeah.
to anything that would just be, especially something that extreme is like you just probably just go numb or you go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a good fucking show.
Do you want to
Probably
do a season wrap when it started on Netflix?
yeah. When it hits Netflix, we'll do a season wrap and we'll do what the next. I had to count that 7 because my math fails.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up when it hits Netflix, and I hope they do. It would be cool if they did something like Sidonia, where we got like another season of 12 or 13 episodes, maybe next year or something like that. That'd be cool. I don't know if there's that much material, but although they only did 2 books and 5 episodes, so I guess
Yeah.
there's plenty.
I think it's probably getting paced fairly well.
Yeah. So yeah. So what are we doing next?
On my note, I have Himato Umaru-chan. No fucking clue what that is.
Because you know what I was thinking.
Yeah, let's do that one. Whatever you were thinking, let's do it. Wait, what were you thinking?
Too late. You've already agreed. Uh,
The last thing you recommended were two freaking gay guys telling stories for like 3 hours. Jesus Christ.
Hey, that was a modern classic.
Okay,
That was a modern classic. I don't know what you
you can
watched,
go fuck
but
yourself.
I was thinking of doing the first 5 episodes of Haikyuu,
The volleyball thing?
the volleyball
Season one
series,
or season
because
two?
season 2 is running right now, but we haven't. I feel like we should do the first 5 of season 1.
Okay. Or should we just do all of season one?
We could do. We could set a date to when we record, and it's whatever the number of episodes we've watched up to that point. So like, I would have watched 3, and
Should have watched all of it.
you would have watched all of
All
it
right,
and all of
yeah.
season 2,
All right.
and read the entire manga. You've been like, I've been ready to go. Like, what are we doing?
I fucking love volleyball now.
Yeah. So yeah, let's. Does that sound
That
good?
sounds
We'll do that
fun.
next.
Yeah, so we'll
Does
do
it-
some form of haiku, and we'll tell you when we record it what we're doing.
yeah. And that you can watch on Crunchyroll.
Boom.
So we'll catch you all next time.
All right. Later.
Thanks for listening.